Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I want to interview with you today, an interesting gentleman, Joseph Edward Scheer, who is the publisher and editor-in-chief of Spencer Magazine. Joseph is running a upscale family publication celebrating style, design, arts and culture, entertainment, lifestyle, and more. Sounds like, Mr. Scheer, a very wide-ranging magazine.
Well, we address a lot of different issues in the publication. We're very excited about it because no family and friends / family friends publication exists that we are aware of at this point. We're very excited about it because it's upscale, but it's something that everybody can reach for. We don't specifically have a demographic in mind where, just because you're maybe middle class, I mean, this is still for you too.
How'd you get into publishing, sir?
Long time ago. I actually grew up in Clarkson / Warren Park. I went to Clarkson Secondary School back in the early 70s, as I say, a long time ago. And my father had this old-fashioned, I don't know if you ever heard of them, Brian. They're an old-fashioned Gestetner printing press.
Yep.
And I was always curious with the whole process of the manual printing. There's a cylinder and you crank it. And I really wanted to do something interesting. I always had a bug for publishing. And so I got myself a few thousand sheets of paper and I started writing everything. I was the editor-in-chief. I started writing this so-called magazine / pamphlet kind of thing.
Magazine pamphlet on a Gestetner.
On a Gestetner, stapled, the whole 9 yards. I distributed it during my grade 9 year, and it was called NIT. I think that stands for initiation or knit or whatever. And it caught on. I mean, I did that for the entire year of grade 9 and graduated to grade 10 and stopped publishing it. But I kind of let it slide from there, and I left publishing after that for a while.
So why'd you do this? Why'd you want to do it? Why'd you want to publish it when you were a kid in grade 9?
I always had something to say. One of the reasons, well, I guess I was kind of a bit of a nerd. I was belonged to the chess club, film club, and I thought, hey, this might be a really interesting way of meeting girls. Kind of didn't work. I spent all my money, all my allowance on paper and supplies and ink and stuff, and never really had any money left over. Even if I had a girl that wanted to go out on a date with me, didn't happen.
It didn't work.
But not much.
I'm not sure, given that you're in the magazine world, you may not be watching Netflix and stuff, but one of the top series is something called Bridgerton. And,
I love it. I marathoned that. I just absolutely love that show.
Well, isn't the young lady in grade 9 or something like that and doing the exact same thing?
I believe you're absolutely right. Yeah.
She's following in your footsteps, or you're following in hers. We're chatting tonight about magazine publications. We're going to take a break and come back more in just a minute. Stay with us.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. We're chatting tonight with Joseph Edward Scheer, who is a editor-in-chief and publisher of Spencer Magazine. Spencer Magazine, it's an upscale family publication that celebrates style, design, arts and culture, entertainment, lifestyle, and much, much more. And Edward is just, Joseph Edward has just shared with us how he got going because he wanted to impress girls, and he was writing a publication using Gestetner printing when he was in grade 9. So did you then launch a magazine as soon as you graduated high school, sir?
Oh, no. I decided that I would annoy the heck out of my parents, and I enlisted in the Army, of all things. I had actually enlisted in the medical corps, the regular Army, and I had the idea of being a physician. Didn't happen, though. A couple of years went by, I left, and I ended up pursuing a career specifically in writing at that point going forward.
In writing? Writing for what?
Film and television.
Film and television. And yes. Did you write any important scripts that we know
of? Probably. But nothing of any significance, I'm afraid. And then, again, it's going way back. I ended up in Hollywood, as a matter of fact. And,
in Hollywood? Doing what in Hollywood?
Being a background actor, then a bit of acting, and and mostly working with other people, writing scripts, dreaming of the big time. It didn't happen. Although
And I
I did have
understand
a friend.
you were a treasure diver. What's a treasure diver?
Oh no, that's true. Like if we were to back up just a moment, I segued. I went down to the Florida Keys. I also, when you're a kid, you have these dreams. I mean, I just got out of the army and I thought I'm just going to take a wild trip down south and then make my way across to Hollywood. So I ended up in South Florida in a little island called Marathon. And I ended up becoming a salvage slash treasure diver off the coast. It was an exciting time. I did that for a couple of years, actually, about a year and a half, and
I
really
understand
enjoyed
there's
it.
a lot of old Spanish coins that people are finding off of the coast of
Uh,
Florida.
yeah, let me tell you a story about that. We never found any Spanish coins whatsoever. A lot of cannonballs and things like that. But the story is this. I had a friend that was just a little old man that after every storm, he had a metal detector and would go along the beach back and forth, back and forth. And he was the one that would find coins washed up on shore. Us diving, never found anything except, like debris and things. And even lots of old outboard engines and lots of crap like that, but nothing exciting.
And then you were a cowboy?
Well, that's when I made my trip west, ended up in a little place called Black Hole. And it was just outside of Johnson City, which is known for Lyndon B. Johnson, one of the presidents of the United States, of course. And I worked as a ranch hand, but I think it's a little bit more exciting to call myself a cowboy. And so yeah, I worked there for about a year. It was I graduated to 4 boots. Do you know what the boot process is when you're
No,
a
I don't.
cowboy?
No, I don't.
Okay, so when you first become inaugurated as a cowboy, the first short period of time, you're given 1 pair of cowboy boots because you need them. I won't go into the details why, but you do need them. After a few months, you graduate to another pair, another pair. When you get 7 pairs of boots, 1 pair for Sunday, 6 pairs for working, that's when you're a full-fledged, absolute pure cowboy. I made it to 4 boots, so I made it pretty far. Not too bad for a kid from
Congratulations.
Clarkson, Canada.
That was a long way to go. And then you ended up in Hollywood. And
I did,
understand you
yes.
had a mentor in Hollywood.
Good old Jed Clampett. Everybody will probably remember the Beverly Hillbillies. That was Buddy Ebsen, who was also, previous to that, was a dancer with Fred Astaire, which was very exciting. I met him
Jed
researching.
Clampett was a
Jed
dancer with
Clampett.
Fred Astaire? You're kidding.
He absolutely was. Absolutely. Back in the mid 30s and 40s, actually. Yeah, yeah. Really exciting gentleman. I met him while I was researching a project I was working on at the Beverly Hills Library, and he was so tall and gangly, and so he had that it factor. You just knew who he was, and I wasn't shy. I walked right up to him and I said, "Hey, listen, really like your work." And I happened to know that he was a dancer. Everybody thought, "Oh yeah, okay, he was Jed Clampett," which was a very strange television role, which was exciting, I suppose, for him. Made him very, very famous. But he was impressed with the fact that I knew that he was a dancer.
He was a dancer.
And that he brought me under his wing. We shared a lot of interest in nautical, in sailing, and spent a lot of time with him. But then
Well, it's interesting because I do some talking at sessions on social capital, and one of the tricks, one of the suggestions I give people is make sure you check people out on LinkedIn or whatnot and find out something interesting about them.
Yes.
So that you can mention it to them, because
Yes.
people do want to know that you find them interesting.
Well, like you are a Harvard graduate. I did my research on you too, of course, because I'm a
Fantastic.
journalist.
But to be able to tell Jed Clampett that he was a dancer must have been, I would never have dreamt of that for him. So that's great. And then I understand you got into writing a magazine, a luxury magazine in
There's
Hollywood.
Brian, there's a window of 30 some odd years in between Jed and that. But yeah, that was I worked as an actor in Vancouver and bounced between LA and Vancouver for many years as a script doctor. Actually, script doctor is a guy that fixes other people's scripts, which is rewarding to a certain extent, but not rewarding creatively. But it was still fun. I did that
Right.
for a couple decades. But yeah, I was offered a position at Luxury Magazine to launch a brand new luxury, and I accepted, and I did that. And you'll probably know the King of Kensington's, Al Waxman's wife, Sarah. She took over the reins after I left the publication.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then you created Spencer. And what was the catalyst, sir, for creating the current magazine, Spencer?
The catalyst. My colleagues. I was actually working at another magazine at the time in Toronto, a little community publication in Toronto, and my colleagues said, Joseph, like you're not bad at this. You may want to consider launching your own publication. And I'm like, oh, really? It's a lot of work. People have no idea how much work it really is. And I got talked into it, and I was very humbled by the fact that they had that kind of faith in me. And I decided, you know what? After my wife agreed to it because she's the financial capital behind the publication, I said, yeah, okay, let's do this. So I gathered up all my colleagues and friends, and we pulled it off, and we've created something that I think is quite extraordinary, Brian. It's we're all very, very proud of it.
Fantastic. But it seems like it's such a wide purview in the interest that it writes about.
Well, yeah. I mean, we want to address things that everybody, families and friends, people from the age of 8 to 80, 90, and even Hurricane Hazel at 100 would be very interested in the editorial content. So we've achieved this with really exciting, great stories about great people, and people that can, especially during this pandemic, live vicariously through the characters in the stories.
Did you actually launch it during the pandemic?
Oh yeah, we just launched we were online for 2 years digital, and then we launched the very first winter issue 2021 just a couple months ago. So yeah, we took a big leap of faith. I mean, it's pretty risky business launching a magazine during a pandemic, never mind any other time. But during a pandemic, people, I had my name, the people that were just like, Joseph, you're just crazy. You can't do this. But I've got to tell you, we sold out. We printed quite a few copies, and we sold out overnight. We were just blown away. And the feedback that we've received so far, beyond my wildest imagination.
Awesome. Congratulations. And is this a monthly or quarterly or what?
No, it is a quarterly. Yes, that's enough. Never want to do a monthly.
And how many pages?
This issue is 248 pages, all editorial content. Not a single page of advertising for the very first issue. I made an executive decision to do that. I only had about 12 or 14 pages of ads sold. And I decided, you know what? I don't want to do it this way. It would look very odd by having just a few pages. So I decided, no, I'm going to bankroll it myself. I'm going to just pull it off. And we did. And I'm thrilled that we did. And
so what's your revenue model if you don't have advertising?
Operating at a loss right now, to be quite honest with you. But that's okay. The next issue, the summer issue, we already have quite a few ads sold. So we're very enthusiastic about that. Going forward, obviously, there'll be an editorial to advertising ratio. We're aiming at 60% editorial and 40% advertising. So it's a substantial number of ads that will be in. So we're pleased with that.
So launching in a pandemic, when people aren't going to newsstands and you've got to sell out and you don't have ads, pretty risky.
No, I don't classify it as being risky. No, I'm not suggesting for a moment that we're so overly altruistic in nature, but I never launched this specifically to generate a capital return. I launched it for a bigger reason. I want to really, truly, I know this sounds very syrupy sweet, but I want to leave a bit of a legacy. I'm a guy in my 60s, and I've had a great life, and I've had a lot of adventures. And I thought, I want to do something exciting that transcends just making a lot of money.
How'd you come up with the name Spencer?
Feels to me.
How'd you come up with the name Spencer?
That was really difficult. I'd already assembled a board of an editorial board of directors. We had 12 people that are leading in their fields: music, film, television, radio, like a number of different fields, fashion, obviously style, et cetera, interior design. And we already had a couple board meetings and they were driving me crazy. Like, Joseph, what are we, this is great, but what are we going to call it? So I'm racking my brain, Brian. I'm walking up and down my street in my neighborhood and I'm thinking, what am I going to call this thing? And lo and behold, I looked up and there was a sign. There was literally a sign above my head, Spencer. It was the sign of the street name of the street that I just happened to live on in Toronto in Parkdale. And I thought, I like the name. There's Lady Diana. There's Winston Churchill, who I'm a fan of historically, because I'm a big history fan, history buff. And I thought, this could work. This could be really good. I went home, started investigating the name Spencer, and I realized, I found out very quickly that the word Spencer, definition, is of British origin, and it means a facilitator / administrator. But further to that, it also means the dispenser of information and or provisions. And I thought, boom, that's what a magazine does. We dispense information. So it just fell in my lap. And when I had another board meeting with my team, they were like, oh yeah, okay, that's what it is. But just a sideline, what's really interesting is one of the people that is on my board, at that time was on my board, was actually a Spencer, and I didn't know it. He's second cousins to Lady Diana, which is such a strange coincidence, of course. But so, of course, he really loved the idea.
Do you believe in omens? That's maybe an omen.
Yes, absolutely. I really do, Brian. I really do.
What makes your magazine? What makes Spencer Magazine different than all the other magazines we've got out there?
Well, I really want to do something that would be of interest to families. Families, the family unit, because of so many, you hear about turnkey kids and like they go to school, and not right now, they're homeschooled, obviously, but they go to school and parents do, two income parents working, they come home, and on the weekends, maybe they get to do things together. I grew up in a very tight family unit. I did everything back in those days. We went camping, we went sailing and fishing and, playing baseball, all those things that kids do. And it was exciting. I loved having a family with my dad and my mom that thought maybe work was important, but family was more important. So I really wanted to focus on that. But to expand on that for a moment, not everybody has family. So we expanded to really focus on friends. And I don't care if people are like doing things together, like whether kids are building a man cave or mom and whatever, maybe knitting or whatever they want to do, whatever family wants to do together is what we really promote. That's why we also focus a lot on travel, and not just luxury travel. I mean, like in the summer issue, we have an article about following in the footprints, or the footsteps, I should say, of Tom Thompson in Algonquin Park, a canoe trip that we're putting together for families. Just a lot of like really cool little things like that.
I used to be a canoe out tripper when I was a teenager, taking people on trips through Canoe Lake up in Algonquin. So
it's beautiful.
I've got a big Tom Thompson picture in my living room of canoe. So I can understand your interest in that dramatically. If people want to get your magazine, how do they do that?
This one was very limited edition. It had to be subscribed to and ordered. And the next one in the summer, we're a very small circulation. We're only 15,000, which for an international magazine is very small, of course. But we'll be available at Shoppers Drug Mart, basically bookstores, the better bookstores across Canada, Chapters Indigo, obviously. But it won't be like people have to grab it fast because I'm pretty sure it's going to sell out. As I say, this last one just went boom overnight.
Is it available digitally?
It is. Right now, it is free. It can be downloaded for free digitally, and I welcome people to do that. I think they'll really enjoy it.
And what website do they go to if they want to download it digitally?
Sure. It's www.spencer, that's with a C, not an S, spencer-magazine.com.
Spencer-magazine.com is where you can get the Spencer magazine, and it specializes in a really wide range of issues, upscale family publications celebrating style, design, arts and culture, entertainment, lifestyle, and much more.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Great. And
Joseph
that's
Edward
my
Scheer, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about the Spencer magazine, and good luck.
Well, it's my pleasure. And thank you so much, Brian. I really enjoyed our conversation. And I love your show, by the way. Absolutely fantastic.
I appreciate
And
it.
you've had friends of mine on.
We should do a story on my show in your magazine.
Yes, that's
Perfect
a good
idea. We're going to take a break and come back with more in
Yes.
just a minute. Stay with us.